In this lesson, I'm going to show you how we can create kind of old fabric with all these scratches, the fibers, and how do we create this in a more procedural way rather than painting. So let me remove everything and start from scratch. So this is going to be my cloth inside Substance Painter. And now I'm going to go and grab one cloth material which, for example, I can use this fabric wool jersey. Looks fine. I pick a good kind of texture, the tiling, which is fine for this one. And I'm gonna turn off opacity for this layer because I don't want all those small holes on top of my model. Maybe a little bit smaller should be fine, 6. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna add something to be used as my mask. So first, I'm gonna go and create a layer, and this is gonna be white color, and I'm gonna use this to create those scratches for me as a guideline for now. And I'm gonna add a black mask, add fill, and I'm gonna use something like scratch probably or crack maybe, which I think this one should be fine. I'm gonna use the tiling 2 should be fine for me. You can use whatever works best for you. Maybe something like this should be fine. And this is gonna be my mask, the starting point to create a kind of opacity layer on top. And now I'm gonna use this as my base shearing mask and adding an anchor point because I'm gonna use this mask to create opacity layer for me as well to play with this. So on top of this one, I'm going to create a new layer and I'm going to turn off the color, turn on the opacity. I'm going to reduce the opacity to 0 so nothing is going to be there. And I'm going to create a black mask so I don't want my model to disappear. And I'm going to call this layer opacity and add fill. And I'm going to use the anchor point that I created. So I'm going to create that mask for the opacity as well. And here, I'm actually gonna use this fill layer and level it to bring it a little bit towards the middle part. So this way, it actually gives me a little bit of material on these edges. You can see this. So I want these white materials on the edges, and you can actually use any kind of material you want. I picked a kind of white, but you can create any of these cloths. For example, I can use this fabric denim, for example, as the material for this one, which you can see because it has height info, it creates some height details for me. So it automatically generates some old wear and tear around these areas as well. A kind of combination between two materials. One, the wool jersey that I had, and the other one, the denim right on top. So right now, I can actually go and create some kind of threads right in between. So first of all, I'm gonna go and add a little bit more of this bearing effect here. I have this grunge. I want to play with this balance a little bit, maybe add a little bit more to open up some of these spaces. And then I'm gonna go here actually and add a fill layer. I'm gonna add something. I'm gonna use maybe fiber, and this should be fine for me. I'm gonna use a better contrast. Probably this should be fine. And first of all, I'm gonna invert it because I want this shreds to work for me. And I'm gonna add a tile, maybe 5, maybe even more, 8. should be fine for me. And now I'm gonna actually set it to multiply. So you can see it's actually filling the area in between. And right now it seems to be too thick. So I can have it like this. And I can actually bring the balance a little bit lower. So it creates something in these areas for me, which looks relatively real. If I want to be more specific, I can do this. I can actually add a paint layer here and draw manually. But if I want something quick to look old and have all these fabrics, this is a procedural way to add this here. So I can actually go forward and add one more step. I want these edges to have a little bit more height compared to the edges uh, in the middle. So the white material I want to be sitting lower, and the yellow one I want it to be sitting higher. And I'm going to use a technique that I use when I want to add a peeling effect. So right now I have this mask, which is looking good, but what I want to do here is to add one layer, and I can actually turn off the color, but later I can add it if I want that effect. I add the height layer, I turn it on, and I give it a little bit of value, maybe 0.5. I want it to be high at the start so I can see this. I added a black mask, add fill, and I add the mask that I had. So I'm gonna turn this into the mask preview because I want to see my masks, which is looking fine for now. I want to add a filter because I want this one to be blurred, and maybe one should be good. And now I duplicate this fill layer, I bring this to the top, and I subtract it. So right now I have all the edges selected. Obviously the blur radius is a little bit too much, so I'm going to bring it a little bit lower. So it seems to be fine for now. I'm going to turn this back to the material mode using the M key. I want to see how much the effect is applying here. Maybe it's a little bit too low, so one should be a little bit better. But I feel like this effect is actually uniform right now, kind of like the peeling effect. So I want to add one fill layer, and I use something, maybe cloud gets to be the one that I like, and I want to multiply it. Why? Because if I turn on the mask, I can show you better. This is the mask that I have, and it's uniform. I want some of these areas to be cut. So I turn this on, and I want to add a little bit of contrast and add maybe some more tiling. And now I want to multiply it. So when I do this, you can check the mask. Some of the areas are gonna have better effects. Some other ones are gonna be cut off. And when I turn on the material mode using the M key, you can see the effect at this moment. So this is gonna be without, which is gonna be flat, and this is gonna be with that kind of effect at the edges. Again, I can play with the radius. It's gonna be a little bit like this. Maybe it's too much, but I can add more value to the height. So you can see if I add too much, still it's not that visible, but it adds to the realism, especially around these areas. So this is the way I add all these wearing and tearing effects to my fabrics. I can use any kind of masks, and I can paint them manually, but procedurally you can go this way and fix it. And lastly, I can actually play with this one, so I can like rotate it, and it's gonna update everything. So it's totally procedural. You don't have to manually paint on something. You can change the tiling to something smaller, maybe 5. It's gonna look like this, or you can go with 1, which is gonna make it quite huge, or you can offset it horizontally or vertically. So this is gonna be the way you can see this effect. And again, gonna bring it back because the way I had it, I liked it more. So that's it. It's Cyber Monday today, and you can purchase any of our courses for 50% off on our website, nextdot.com. Thank you for watching.